also just recently we've put the kitchenette in and a disabled toilet, because here was the baptism area, and we've actually taken some pews out, made more space and used the wood.
Hi Catherine, thanks for talking to us this morning. East of Eden Mission Community have had a covenant in place with the Diocese since 2020. A lot of the people watching this film are going to be mission community leaders about to take their own mission communities on this journey. Do you have any lessons learnt from this process that you could share with them as they think about putting this into action in their patches?
Yes, communication. You can never communicate it too often. I think these things need to be explained carefully, because there's always quite a lot of misunderstanding, so it needs to be repeated several times what the purpose is behind it, and an understanding of it. It was particularly helpful when we started to call it, rather than parish offer, more ministry costs, because I think people recognise that, understood what it was for a little bit better. Yeah.
That's really helpful. And do you think this process of taking your mission community into a covenant has changed the way the churches within the mission community relate to one another?
Yes, I think it's encouraged it to be more collective. Therefore, they're not in this on their own, but working together. The mission community is quite a big umbrella, of course, because the Methodist system, even though they're in the covenant, they have a different way of collecting their finances and a different way of doing it than we do. But the other part of the mission community consists of two benefices. And I think certainly for the benefice I'm mainly involved with, it has been helpful. I feel people are beginning to understand that. But for the other benefits, there's still quite a lot of work to be done. So I'm not saying we've got there. I'm just saying it's a work in process. But again, it's communication.
Yeah, definitely. And did this process of covenant teach you anything about how to encourage giving and generosity in your churches, or do you feel it didn't really impact on that?
I think people have been incredibly generous, actually. I think, yes, when they're regarding it as ministry costs, they realise that what they gave enabled the ministry costs to be there. And I think it has been helpful. Old systems take a long way to fade away, don't they? It's in people's memory. That's why I said you have to keep sort of reinforcing the purpose behind it. But I think as people have understood what it directly means, it means how many ministers they can have. It certainly has helped, yes. I think when the churches are aware of what the other churches are giving, it perhaps does encourage them. And we've noticed this particularly now that the other benefice is perhaps more involved. One or two have commented that they perhaps ought to be given a little bit more. I don't want to sound really materialistic here, but I think perhaps they're beginning to understand it directly affects their ministerial cover. So I think in that respect it has been helpful.
Great. And kind of thinking bigger picture, do you feel that this covenant process has brought benefits to your mission community, and what do you think those benefits would be?
Yes, I think they have, because at the moment we're in the process of deciding additional staffing, because one of the incumbents has retired. So therefore, we're now considering how to replace him. And I feel because we're in this covenant relationship, we've been able to consider several options. And I think possibly we've had more say than perhaps we would have done if we weren't in this covenant relationship. We certainly have not had things thrust upon us. We've been able to work out what we think would be best for our mission community, and I think the covenant arrangement has allowed this.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much for your time, Catherine, for taking the time to explain your experience. That's been really helpful.
Well, thank you.